I was 16 when Mr. Wesley started teaching at our high school. He taught junior English and became instantly popular. Young, maybe late 20s, always enthusiastic about literature. He made Shakespeare interesting, got kids excited about poetry. Everyone loved him, especially the girls. I had him third period. He had this way of teaching that felt personal. He'd make eye contact, ask what you thought, actually listen to your answers. Most teachers just lectured. Mr. Wesley made you feel seen. About a month into the semester, he started a special reading group. For students who want to go deeper, he explained. We'll meet after school on Thursdays, discuss books beyond the curriculum. 6 of us signed up. All girls. I didn't think about it at the time. The first meeting was normal. We sat in his classroom, discussed The Great Gatsby, debated symbolism. Mr. Wesley brought cookies his wife had made. He mentioned her casually, showed us a photo on his phone. Wedding picture. She was pretty, smiling. It made him seem safe. Married. Normal. The second meeting, only 4 of us showed up. 2 girls had dropped out. Too much homework, they said. Mr. Wesley seemed disappointed. I hope the rest of you stick with it. This group is special to me. By the third meeting, it was down to 3 of us. Me, Sarah Chin, and Maya Rodriguez. That's when things started feeling different. Mr. Wesley began giving us individual attention. He'd sit close, leaning to look at our annotations. His hand would rest on the back of your chair. Nothing overtly inappropriate, but something felt off. He started texting us. About books, he said. Thought you'd like this quote. Found a poem that reminded me of you. Always literature related. Always explainable. But the texts came late at night. 10 p.m. 11 p.m. Once at midnight. You're still up? I texted back once. Can't sleep. My mind is too full of ideas. You understand, don't you? You're like me. I showed my mom. She frowned. That's inappropriate. A teacher shouldn't text students at midnight. But it's just about books. I don't care. It's not right. I didn't respond to his late texts after that. But Sarah and Maya did. In November, Mr. Wesley announced a field trip. A community college 2 hours away was hosting a literature symposium. He'd gotten permission to take interested students. It's on a Saturday, he said. I know that's asking a lot, but it's an incredible opportunity. 5 students signed up. Me, Sarah, Maya, and 2 others from different classes. My mom didn't want me to go. Something about this teacher bothers me, she said. Mom, it's a legitimate academic event. There'll be other students. Other teachers might even be there. She reluctantly agreed. Keep your phone on. Call me if anything feels wrong. The morning of the trip, I arrived at school at 7 a.m. The van was in the parking lot. Mr. Wesley was loading his laptop and a cooler into the back. Only Sarah and Maya showed up. The other 2 students had canceled last minute. Well, Mr. Wesley said, smiling. Looks like it's just us. The dedicated scholars. 3 students. 1 teacher. 2-hour drive each way. I should have called my mom right then. Should have said I was sick. But I didn't want to seem paranoid. Didn't want to be the girl who made everything weird. We got in the van. Mr. Wesley drove. Sarah sat in the front passenger seat. Maya and I sat in the middle row. The conversation started normal. Books, college, our futures. But gradually, it shifted. Mr. Wesley started talking about his marriage. How his wife didn't understand him. How she was threatened by his close relationships with students. She doesn't get it, he said. The connection a teacher can have with students who really care about learning. It's pure. It's special. Sarah nodded enthusiastically. She'd always been eager to please teachers. You 3 are special, he continued. I can talk to you about things I can't discuss with other students. You're mature. You understand me. My stomach tightened. This felt wrong. We stopped for gas an hour in. Maya went to the bathroom. When she came back, she looked pale. I'm not feeling well, she said. Do you need to go home? Mr. Wesley asked. Maybe. I'm sorry. I think I ate something bad. I can drop you at a bus station. There's one a few miles from here. A bus station? I said. Shouldn't we take her home? That would mean canceling the trip for everyone. Maya, do you feel well enough to take a bus? It's a straight shot back. Maya, looking miserable and embarrassed, agreed. He drove her to a Greyhound station and bought her a ticket. We waited until her bus came, then continued on. Now it was just me and Sarah. Good thing Maya left before we got too far, Mr. Wesley said as we merged back onto the highway. This way, you two still get the full experience. The symposium was real. We attended panels, listened to professors discuss postmodern literature. During lunch, Mr. Wesley suggested we eat outside, just the three of us. More peaceful than the cafeteria, he said. We sat on a bench in a courtyard. He sat between us. I'm really glad you two are here, he said. You're my favorite students. I hope you know that. Thanks, Mr. Wesley, Sarah said, beaming. He turned to me. You've been quiet today. Everything okay? I'm fine. You sure? You seem distant, like you're pulling away from the group. I'm just tired. He studied me for a long moment. I hope you're not listening to people who don't understand what we have here. This mentorship. Some people see something innocent and make it into something it's not. My throat went dry. Was he talking about my mom? On the drive home, I sat in the back alone. Sarah sat up front with Mr. Wesley. They talked quietly. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught fragments. Special bond. Don't tell anyone who wouldn't understand. Keep this between us. I texted my mom. Can you pick me up when I get back? I don't want to wait for my dad. Is everything okay? I just want to come home. She was waiting in the parking lot when we arrived. I got out quickly, grabbing my bag. Thank you, Mr. Wesley, I said formally. See you Monday, he replied. His smile didn't reach his eyes. In the car, my mom asked what happened. I told her everything. The texts, the conversation, the way Maya conveniently had to leave. The things he said. We're reporting this, she said. But he didn't do anything. Not really. He'll say I'm making it up. You're not the only one. I'll bet anything you're not. Monday morning, I went to the principal's office with my mother. We showed the late-night texts, explained the trip, described the comments. The principal listened, her face grave. Thank you for coming forward. I need to ask you to keep this confidential while we investigate. 2 days later, Mr. Wesley was placed on administrative leave. 3 days after that, 2 more girls came forward. Different classes. Same pattern. Late-night texts. Special attention. Comments about being mature and special. One girl, a freshman, said he'd driven her home from a makeup test. Taken a route that was 20 minutes longer than necessary. Asked her about her boyfriend. Told her she deserved someone who appreciated her intelligence. Another said he'd asked her to stay after class to discuss her essay. Locked the door so we wouldn't be interrupted. Stood too close. Put his hand on her shoulder. The investigation took 3 weeks. Mr. Wesley was fired. Turns out, our school wasn't his first. He taught at 2 other schools before ours. Left both under unclear circumstances. The district had never checked thoroughly enough. Sarah was devastated. She insisted he'd never done anything inappropriate to her. That we were all overreacting. But 6 months later, she came to me crying. He messaged me, she said, from a fake Facebook account. Said he missed our conversations. Asked if I wanted to meet up. She'd finally seen it for what it was. Mr. Wesley moved to another state. Last I heard, he was teaching again. Different district. Different students. I'm 24 now, graduated from college, starting my teaching credential. I think about Mr. Wesley sometimes. About how subtle it was. How he built trust gradually. How he made you feel special right up until you realized you were being groomed. I think about the girls at his new school. The ones who probably think they're special right now. The ones getting late-night texts about poetry. And I think about how many teachers like him are out there. How good they are at seeming safe. How they use education and mentorship as cover. How the scary teachers aren't always the ones who yell. Sometimes they're the ones everyone loves. The ones who make you feel seen. Until you realize you were being watched all along. My daughter Lily started first grade at Meadowbrook Elementary in September. She'd been excited all summer, picking out her backpack, practicing writing her name. Her teacher was Miss Harper, young, energetic, fresh out of college. At the open house, she seemed perfect. Bright classroom, creative lesson plans, genuine enthusiasm for teaching. "I'm so lucky to have this group," she told the parents. "Every child is special. I'm going to make sure each one knows it." The first month was great. Lily came home happy, talking about stories Miss Harper read, games they played, songs they learned. Then, gradually, things changed. Lily started having nightmares. She'd wake up crying, saying she was scared, but couldn't explain why. "What are you scared of, sweetie?" I'd ask. "I don't know. Bad things." She started wetting the bed again after being dry for 2 years. She'd beg not to go to school. "What's wrong? Is someone being mean to you?" "No. I just don't want to go." I emailed Miss Harper. "Lily seems anxious about school lately. Has anything changed in the classroom?" Miss Harper replied quickly. "Lily has been a bit withdrawn this week. I've been trying to give her extra attention. Sometimes children have adjustment phases. Let's give it a few more days." But it got worse. Lily stopped eating lunch. She'd come home with her lunchbox untouched. "Why aren't you eating?" I asked. "I'm not hungry, but you love sandwiches. I packed your favorite. Miss Harper says we have to finish everything on our plates before we can play at recess. If we don't, we sit at the table until we do." "How long did you sit there today?" "The whole recess." I felt my anger rising. "Did Miss Harper know you were sitting there the whole time?" Lily nodded. She said I was being difficult, that I needed to learn discipline. I emailed Miss Harper immediately. "Please don't force Lily to skip recess over food. If she's not eating, we should talk about why, not punish her." Her response was cold. "Children need structure. Lily is testing boundaries. I'm helping her learn consequences." That week, I volunteered in the classroom. I wanted to see what was happening myself. The moment I walked in, I felt it. The atmosphere was wrong. The children sat perfectly still, hands folded, eyes on Miss Harper. No fidgeting, no whispering, just silence. Miss Harper smiled at me. "Class, say good morning to Mrs. Chen." "Good morning, Mrs. Chen," they chanted in perfect unison. It was creepy. First graders aren't supposed to be that controlled. I helped with a reading activity, working with small groups. Every time a child made a mistake, I saw them glance nervously at Miss Harper. One little boy, Marcus, stumbled over a word. He immediately started crying. Not normal frustration crying, panicked crying. "It's okay," I said gently. "Let's sound it out together." Miss Harper appeared beside us. "Marcus, we don't cry over mistakes. We try harder. Go to the reset corner." The reset corner was a chair in the back of the room, facing the wall. "How long does he stay there?" I whispered. "Until he's ready to behave appropriately." Marcus sat there for 45 minutes. He missed math, missed snack time. He sat facing the wall, occasionally sniffling. At pickup, I asked Lily, "Do you have to sit in the reset corner sometimes?" "Everyone does." "If you're bad." "What's bad?" "Talking. Moving too much. Not finishing work fast enough. Crying." That night, I called my husband. "Something's wrong with that classroom. The kids are scared." "Scared of what?" "Of her. Of Miss Harper." I scheduled a meeting with the principal. I explained what I'd seen. The excessive punishment. The fear in the children. Lily's regression. The principal listened. "Miss Harper is new, but she's been very professional. Sometimes first-year teachers are a bit strict while they find their footing. It's beyond strict. The kids are terrified. I'll observe her classroom, but I need specific incidents, not just feelings." I started documenting everything. Every time Lily came home upset, I wrote it down. I talked to other parents. Turns out, I wasn't alone. Marcus's mom said he'd started having panic attacks. Another child had developed a stutter. Several were refusing to go to school. But when parents complained, Miss Harper had explanations. The children were adjusting. They were testing boundaries. She was maintaining necessary structure. In November, everything came to a head. A parent found bruises on their child's arm. Small, round bruises, like fingerprints. "How did you get these?" the mother asked. "Miss Harper grabbed me," the child said. "I was talking during quiet time." The school investigated, interviewed children, and the truth came out. Miss Harper had been grabbing children hard, leaving marks. She'd also been withholding bathroom breaks as punishment, making children sit in wet clothes if they had accidents. She'd lock children in a supply closet for reset times sometimes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, in the dark. She told one child that their drawing was garbage and made them throw it away in front of the class. She'd forced children to miss lunch, miss recess, miss specials, all as punishment for minor infractions. 23 children in her class. 18 were showing signs of trauma. Miss Harper was fired immediately. The school brought in counselors. Parents were offered therapy resources for their children. But the damage was done. Lily still has nightmares sometimes. She's in 3rd grade now, doing well, but she's more anxious than she used to be. More afraid of making mistakes. Marcus's family moved to a different district. He couldn't even walk past Meadowbrook without having a panic attack. The worst part? Miss Harper got a job at another school the next year. 2 towns over. The hiring district never called Meadowbrook for a reference. She lasted 1 semester before parents there started complaining too. I learned something from that experience. Sometimes the scariest people are the ones who seem perfect on the surface. The ones with the bright classrooms and the enthusiastic lesson plans. The ones who say all the right things to parents while terrorizing children behind closed doors. I advocate harder now. I volunteer more. I watch my children's teachers carefully. Because I know what can happen when we assume everything is fine. When we trust too easily. When we don't listen when children try to tell us something's wrong. Miss Harper taught my daughter many things that year. But the most important lesson came from me. Your feelings are valid. Your fear is real. And you never have to stay somewhere that makes you feel small, no matter who tells you to. I've been teaching high school math for 12 years. I've seen hundreds of substitutes come through our building. Most are fine. Some are excellent. A few are disasters. But I've never seen anything like what happened with the substitute who covered Mr. Peterson's class in March. Mr. Peterson taught sophomore geometry. He had a family emergency and needed to take a week off. The district sent us a substitute named Jonathan Graves. I met him the Monday he started. Tall, maybe 40, thin. He wore wire-rimmed glasses and a gray suit. Very formal, very professional. Jonathan Graves, he introduced himself in the teacher's lounge. "I'll be covering room 214 this week." "Welcome," I said. "I'm Beth. I teach across the hall. Let me know if you need anything." "Thank you. I'm sure I'll manage." There was something odd about his voice. Flat. No inflection. Like he was reading from a script. That first day passed normally. But on Tuesday, I started hearing things. My 2nd period students were buzzing. "Did you hear about Mr. Graves' class?" "What about it?" "He's weird. He knows things he shouldn't know." "What do you mean?" "Like, he knew Sarah's middle name. She never told him. He just called her Sarah Elizabeth. She asked how he knew, and he said it was on the roster. But she checked. It's not." I frowned. Maybe he saw it somewhere else. And he knew Jake broke his arm in 6th grade. Mentioned it when Jake was having trouble writing. Jake never told him that. Kids exaggerate. I didn't think much of it. But by Wednesday, more students were talking. "Mr. Graves is creepy," they said. "He stares at people. Like, really stares. And he knows stuff about us. Personal stuff." During lunch, I mentioned it to another teacher. "Have you heard anything weird about the substitute in 214? She nodded. "Yeah, my homeroom students have him 3rd period. They say he's strange. Very cold. And he makes these comments that seem like he's been following them or something." "Like what?" "He mentioned to one kid that her grandmother was in the hospital. The kid said, 'How did you know that?' He said, 'I'm observant.' but she hadn't told anyone at school. That was concerning. I decided to keep an eye on him. Thursday morning, I arrived early. Room 214 was already open. I looked in. Mr. Graves was sitting at the desk, perfectly still, staring at the wall. "Good morning," I said. He turned slowly. "Good morning. Getting ready for the day?" "Always prepared." I noticed papers on the desk. Student files. He was reading through them. "Where did you get those?" I asked. "Student files are supposed to stay in the office." I requested access to better understand my students. Subs don't usually get access to confidential files. I'm not a usual substitute. The way he said it made my skin crawl. I reported it to the principal, who confirmed that Mr. Graves had somehow gotten copies of student files without authorization. "I'll speak to him," the principal said. But by the time she got to room 214, the files were gone. Mr. Graves denied having them. Friday was his last day. I thought, good. He'll be gone, and things will go back to normal. But Friday afternoon, a student ran into my classroom, panicked. "Miss Rodriguez, you need to come now." I followed her to room 214. A crowd of students stood in the hallway, looking shaken. I pushed through. Inside, Mr. Graves stood at the front of the room. On the whiteboard behind him, he'd written names. Every student in the class. But next to each name was information. Personal information. Home addresses. Parents' names. Phone numbers. Details about their lives. Where they worked. Where they went to church. Who they dated. "What is this?" I demanded. Mr. Graves turned to me. His expression was blank. "A lesson. These students share so much online. They don't understand how vulnerable they are. How easily someone can find them. Watch them. Learn about them. You need to erase that board. Right now. In a moment. First, they need to understand the lesson. Erase the board." He stared at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, he began erasing names. But he did it deliberately, slowly, maintaining eye contact with different students as he erased their information. "You're all so easy to find," he said quietly. "So easy to follow. So easy to watch." I called for security. They escorted Mr. Graves out of the building. He didn't resist. He went calmly, carrying his briefcase, that same blank expression on his face. The principal called the district. They investigated. Turns out, Jonathan Graves wasn't on their approved substitute list. He'd never been hired by the district at all. He'd showed up Monday morning with forged credentials, inserted himself into our system. No one had verified him because everyone assumed someone else had. The police got involved. They searched for him, but Jonathan Graves wasn't his real name. The address on his fake paperwork didn't exist. His phone number was disconnected. They never found him, but they found his car, abandoned in a parking garage downtown. Inside were notebooks, pages and pages of handwritten notes about students from our school, where they lived, their routines, their schedules, photographs, taken through windows, at bus stops, walking home. He'd been stalking students for weeks before he ever walked into our building. The school brought in counselors, notified parents, increased security, but the damage was done. Students felt violated, unsafe. Some families transferred their kids to other schools. Some students refused to take Mr. Peterson's class when he returned. The classroom itself felt tainted. Mr. Peterson ended up retiring early. Said he couldn't stand being in that room anymore, knowing what had happened there. I still teach across the hall. Every time we get a substitute, I verify them. I check with the office. I make sure they're actually supposed to be there. Because I learned that day that schools aren't as secure as we think. That someone can walk in, claim to be a substitute, and gain access to children. That the person at the front of the classroom might not be who they say they are. I think about those students sometimes. The ones whose addresses he had, whose routines he documented, whose photos he'd taken. I wonder if he's watching them still. If he moved on to another school, another group of vulnerable targets. I wonder how many Jonathan Graves are out there. How many predators have figured out that schools are perfect hunting grounds, And I remember that the scariest teacher isn't always the one who's supposed to be there. Sometimes it's the one who isn't. The one who walks in like they belong. And by the time you realize they don't, they already know everything about you.